Surya Jayani. It's 9:46, April 25th. So a piece of these terrorist tactics is they have these covert platforms where they communicate with politicians, law enforcement, etc., and they control information. Their favorite tactic is, because they're cowards, is to make sure the opposition isn't present to defend themselves. I'm Alexander Surjani, long black hair and a man bun, eyebrow ring, long black mustache, lower lip hair, lower chin hair. So that this realm of controlled communication with politicians, maybe law enforcement, intelligence agents, and they control information in this platform, and they act like it's secure, it's infallible, whatsoever. They even find ways to pretend the opposition is present when they aren't. So that's a key piece of their tactic and how they control information. Then they attack the opponent without the opponent present to defend themselves and say, no, you're a fucking liar. And then they try to run some covert court system and coerce murder on the opponent when the opponent has never even been there to say anything. So that's a piece of their tactic. They operate with a bunch of manufactured evidence and misrepresented nonsense and give it and make sure real intelligence and law enforcement, in some instances, who aren't capable of investigating such things, aren't present. Because they also do it with parents too, and then they try to arm them with weapons to coerce murder. So maybe with the politicians and intelligence guys, they can investigate, but they are doing the same model with like parents and other people, and then they're using manufactured evidence and slander and impersonation tactics to pretend the opponent's there when they're not, and then they're even arming some of these parents and their children with weapons, and then they're trying to run a covert court system to coerce murder on innocent people, and they take advantage of parents without technological know-how to then peddle their manufactured nonsense to coerce murder on people. They also run their dehumanization campaigns with this manufactured nonsense, their impersonation tactics, all of these things. But right now they're using their witness tampering tech on me to shock my brain. But a key piece of this as well, they're not just dehumanizing people. One of their favorite tactics is to try to monstrify the opponent or make them look evil. And then they hire these people who pretend to be righteous and they claim to kill evil people. And then their goal is to manufacture a false character profile and persona of their opponent. While the opponent isn't present, he doesn't get to be a part of the the profile creation process. They tailor data, they manufacture data, they create a fraudulent character profile analysis, and then they give it to these mentally disturbed people armed with weapons who are really these weirdo fame seekers pretending to be righteous, pretending to kill evil people, and then they try to make them look evil to these known mentally disturbed homicidal maniacs armed with these covert implantation weapons who will try to implant people's hearts and murder them at a touch of a button. So that's a piece of this. So there's a lot of not just dehumanizing people and make them look less than human. They also like to make them look evil, like they're threats, this and that. And then that's one of their ways they try to coerce murder on innocent people. And a piece of that as well is arming these mentally disturbed homicidal maniacs with weapons who have poor analytical skills, who pretended to be expert investigators when they're not. And then they will even try to force feed them bullshit to eventually try to push them to coerce a crime. They may use psychological tactics, your losing face. They may use neuromodulation and neurosurgeries to impair cognition on them. But that's another piece of this, and that's another tactic and tool they use for covert murder. And then one of the ways they carry this out is using these covert methods of communication, and then using these impersonation tactics and pretending the opponent is present when the opponent's not. And then they even use others to impersonate people and do false testimony through impersonation. They use manufactured video through impersonation, and that's other ways they try to coerce murder on innocent people, steal large sums of money, promote their sexual slavery, and try to make their sexual slavery, and theft look okay. So they're taking advantage of these people who have poor analytical skills, who have been pretending to be experts and pretending to be expert investigators and law enforcement, and they're taking advantage of that. And then they're also, if there are experts, they're bribing those people or blackmailing those people by maybe trying to seduce them with technology, seduce them with money, opportunity, and then bribing them and taking advantage of them. One of their favorite hand-tying tactics, as I've been saying, is introducing them to this tech I speak of and maybe creating a culture around it, and they are creating this weird bubble around this tech, and then they try to manufacture a norm, and then they'll bring investors and bring them into their community and they have this manufactured norm, and they'll show them the tech. They may try to seduce you with the interesting nature of it because it is interesting, but they're really having a hidden agenda, not interested in the interesting nature of it. They're interested in using it for manipulation, power, abuse, and control. So they'll seduce some people who are intellectuals with the interesting nature of it, but then they'll flip the script. They may try to seduce them with women. They may try to seduce them with money. They may try to seduce them with gambling. They may seduce them with an investment opportunity. And while they're testing out the tech, they may hang out with you, get friendly with you, be like, hey, you want to bet? I can make you some money to help your investment. Once this technology comes into reality, it'll help further your investment, get some seed money or something. So they'll try to pull them into a gambling ring. They'll try to pull them into an economic espionage ring, some content ring, and then they'll use it. They'll give them stolen property. They'll pull them into an illegal bet, and it's really a hand tying exercise. Maybe they'll even try to get you to implant someone to test the technology out. They'll say there's no laws. They'll say it's harmless, blah, 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 blah. And then they'll try to set you up for a hand tying opportunity. So that's another piece of how they're tying hands, is they're pulling investors into this tech and letting them test it out. On me is one piece of it. And then they're tying their hands is another thing. They'll try to seduce you with gambling rings, more technology, hand tie them. But that's another piece of this as well, is them hand tying people, and that's another way they're getting away with their severe crimes and trying to make their crimes look okay. And other ways they're also getting away with murders. They're blackmailing investigators too, so that's another one of their tactics for murder. So it's not just their dehumanization tactics, it's not just their control of information tactics. They're also blackmailing investigators to sign off on stuff so they can get away with covert murder, and that's a piece of this too. So look into that. But yeah, they like to use this tactic of trying to make people look evil as well, and then manufacture evidence in their controlled realm where the opponent isn't present to try to course murder on people. So that's another key piece of this. Key point.